My name's James Moore. I'm a nurse and I'm the director of a travel clinic down in the southwest of the United Kingdom. I prepare people for travelling abroad overseas. I also lecture in travel and expedition medicine, and I work as an expedition medic around the world. I was attracted to this job because I wanted to combine my love of nursing and my love of travel across the world, and this seemed an ideal opportunity to do that. Lots of different people come to me for help and advice before they travel abroad. It could be families having short holidays to Africa. It could be film crews shooting films in the jungle or in extreme environments. It might be business people working for short periods of time, or even gap year students who travel for a year or more. 100 years ago, doctors and nurses who went away on expeditions were primarily responsible for looking at the local plants or the local people and the illnesses there. Nowadays, the doctors and nurses that go on expeditions are there to look after the team. One of the most remote places I've been to is the Sinai Desert in Egypt, and although you're not very far from the major cities, actually you feel incredibly remote at the same time. The temperatures in the day can reach about 37 degrees Celsius, which is very hot, but then at night it drops to an extremely cold temperature. It might be just above freezing. Some of the extreme environments can be very different at night. For instance, in the desert, we sleep in a sleeping bag under the stars. You don't need to sleep in a tent. Whereas in the jungle, it's incredibly noisy, where you can hear all the animals at night, and you can't sleep on the floor. You have to sleep in a hammock suspended between two trees. The people who live in these environments have often lived there for thousands of years and are very well adapted to living in the extreme conditions that they may find. People don't move around very quickly. They move around very slowly in these hot environments. If you move around quickly, you get too hot too quickly and you become unwell. As an expedition medic, you need to learn quite a lot from the people who live there all the time. It's important that you learn how they live, how they dress, what they eat, what they drink, and how they move around in that environment. And at the same time, we look after them whilst they're with us. We provide a bit of healthcare for them if they need it. For me personally, I find the jungle a very challenging place to live and work. It's quite dirty, it's very, very hot, and it's very, very humid. And unless you know exactly what you're doing and how to look after yourself, how to take care of your body, things can fall apart very, very quickly. Your kit will break very, very easily. My top tip for anyone spending any time in an extreme environment is to make sure they do their preparation. To learn from the locals, to read books, to speak to people who've been there before, but also to practice with the equipment that they've got, to put their hammocks up before they get into a country, to learn how to put a mosquito net up, to learn how to cook on a stove if they've never done it before, and that makes life much more comfortable when you get into the country. People learn an incredible amount about themselves working in extreme environments. They learn how to work under pressure. They learn a lot about cultures and different societies, and you realise that although on the surface societies look very different, underneath humans are actually quite similar in nature.